Your question, the member from Kenora-Rainy River.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Yesterday, the annual HungerCount report on food bank usage was released, and the results are shocking. Speaker, since 2008, food bank usage in Ontario has risen more than 14%, and 48.6% of food banks in Ontario are reporting an increase in use. More appalling still, nearly 34% of food bank users are children. This government is failing families and children in need. Will the Premier admit that her government isn't doing enough to help families and in need across this province?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I know that the Minister of Community and Social Services will want to comment on this, but I just want to say to the member opposite that, of course, we are all concerned about these statistics, Mr. Speaker. In fact, it's why our government put in place a poverty reduction strategy. It's why, Mr. Speaker, we put in place the Ontario Child Benefit, Mr. Speaker, which has actually lifted thousands of children out of poverty, Mr. Speaker. We know there's more to be done, Mr. Speaker. We just put in place a local poverty reduction fund. But, Mr. Speaker, there is more to be done across the country. We understand that.
The member from Renfrew, second time.
The fact is that we have targets that we set in our...
I just wanted to make sure he heard me. The member from Renfrew, second time. Carry on.
Mr. Speaker, there are 50,000 children, fewer children in poverty today, Mr. Speaker, because of the Ontario Child Benefit. We know there's more to be done, Mr. Speaker, and we are continuing to take action.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, there is not one fridge for parents and another for children. These kids are living in poverty, using food banks regularly because their parents have no other choice. Not to mention already marginalized people like those on disability income supports, making up 1/3 of food bank users because they aren't being properly supported. More and more post-secondary students are being forced to use food banks because they don't have enough to buy food. Speaker, it's 2015. Food banks in Ontario should not be reporting increases in use. Will the Premier admit that her government's failed policies are forcing vulnerable people to pay the price?
Minister of Community and Social Services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And we do thank Food Banks Canada for the report that they issued yesterday. It does give us a good national picture of the problem of food security and hunger. But we also know that we have made steady progress, as the Premier has just responded, and as I did in the previous question. We are lifting those most vulnerable up in terms of increasing rates. We are improving the system in terms with partnerships with many of our community agencies. The reference, I think, that the Premier made to the Ontario Child Benefit is particularly relevant. We know that we did increase that in July 2015 to $1,336, and it is indexed to inflation for the very first time. So we are making steady progress on this issue. Thank you, Mr.